Hi guys, welcome back to Automation Experts. Today we'll go through few of the beginner level lookup functions and few intermediate level lookup functions. So what is a lookup function? Lookup function in Excel means referencing a cell to match values in another row or column against the cell and thereby retrieving the corresponding results from the respective row and columns. Some uses of lookup functions are: you can find the exact or appropriate match by using the lookup function. Users can search for data both vertically and horizontally. It is simpler to use and does not require selecting the entire table. So let's start with a simple lookup function. There are two types of lookup function: vector and array. The lookup function in Excel can perform the simplest types of vertical and horizontal lookups. The vector form looks for a value in a specified column or row. In this formula, the lookup value is the value that lookup function searches in an array. It can be a number, text, a logical value, or a name, or even a reference to a value. A lookup vector is a range that contains only one row or one column of a text, numbers, or logical values placed in ascending order. Result vector is a range that contains only one row or column the same size as lookup vector. So in this criteria, we are retrieving UID number based upon the first name. And the second lookup function is an array form. The array form looks for a value in the first row or column of an array. When you come to the formula, the lookup value is a value that lookup searches for in an array and can be a number, text, a logical value, or a name or reference to a value. An array is a range of cells that contains text, number, or logical values that you want to compare with a lookup value. The next function is VLOOKUP. So this is the commonly used formula across the Excel users. The VLOOKUP function in an Excel is a powerful function used to look up data in a table organized vertically. It looks down the left column of a range to find a value. In this criteria, we are getting a UID based upon the entry of the first name in the cell B10. The next function would be HLOOKUP. The HLOOKUP function looks up for a value in the first row of a given range and gives a value in the same column from a row that you specified. Next function would be the XLOOKUP. The XLOOKUP function is the improved version of VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. XLOOKUP function is used when you need to find things in a table or a range by row. The difference between VLOOKUP and XLOOKUP is that XLOOKUP can search for a return value regardless of which side the return column is on. Next function would be VLOOKUP and choose. So we use this combination if we want to use two or more criteria in VLOOKUP function. The formula is explained in my previous video. Please switch back to the previous video in order to get the detailed explanation of this formula. So this is all about the beginner level of lookup functions. So we'll move on to intermediate level of VLOOKUP functions. The intermediate level includes index and offset match. So index and offset are both Excel functions used to return a value from a specific cell or range of cells. The main differences between index and offset are: index requires you to define a particular reference array, then tell Excel where to move within that defined space. Offset asks you to designate a starting point, then tell how to move away from the starting point. Index is generally preferable to offset for dynamic ranges because offset is a volatile function that will be calculated at every recalculation. Index is used to directly indicate an array or a range of cells, while offset is used to indicate a reference to a range that is located at a specified number of rows and columns from another cell or range of cells. So we will move on to the offset match. So to use this offset and match, we need to make sure we need to have a defined left hand side of values and we have the header rows. So these two are mandatory to use this formula. We'll start with offset we'll select the start of the data, match will give cell reference of B17, and the range of the first name, we have to find the exact match, and now we are matching the header rows, the lookup array would be, so the headers from surname and to the right hand side of the selected range, and the exact match, close the brackets. So this is how we'll get the unique ID of Ken is nothing but 93564. So if we change the value to Ravi, so we'll get the UID. So even if we change, we can change the result criteria. If we want to change the if we want to find the surname of Ravi, we'll get like this. So this formula is based upon both the headers as well as the left hand criteria. So we'll move on to index and match. So to use this formula, we need to use index So we are selecting the UID and matching with the criteria which is provided with the first name, and we are finding the exact match. So this is one of the way to get UID. So we are using index and match to get the UID based upon the first name. The next one will move on to index and match. So we'll start with index. So we are taking the entire table array into the index, followed by XMatch to the first name, and we are selecting the range for the first name, and comma the header row, XMatch the header row, and we are selecting the headers right from the first column to the last column, only the headers, and we are creating enter. So this is how we use index and match functions. So hope this video helps you all, and the next video will continue with much more advanced lookup and complex VLOOKUP functions. Thank you.